In this lesson, we're going to take a look at application problems that involve addition with fractions. So let's take a look at problem number 1. It says a park ranger hiked 1/4 mile to a lookout, another 3/5 of a mile to a bird's nest, and finally 3/10 of a mile to a campsite. How far did the park ranger hike? Now it doesn't use the word, but it implies the word total, which means that I need to add these values. So I have 1/4, whoops, my goodness, I touched something on my screen. I have 1/4 plus 3/5 plus 3/10. And in order to add fractions, I have to have a common denominator. So I could take a look at, could think about listing multiples. I would need to go to the 10. Does 4 go into 10 evenly? No. 5 does, but since 4 doesn't, I can't use 10. The next multiple of 10 is 20. Does 4 go into 20 evenly? Yes. Does 5 go into 20 evenly? Yes. So this is my common multiple, my least common multiple. So I'm going to use the common denominator of 20. 4 goes into 25 times, and 5 times 1 is 5. 5 goes into 24 times, and 4 times 3 is 12. 10 goes into 22 times, and 2 times 3 is 6. I keep the common denominator of 20. I add 5, and I'll just add the ones column. 5 and 2 is 7. 7 and 6 is 13. Carry the 1. That 1 adds to that 1, and I have 23. I have 23 20ths. This is the miles that the park ranger traveled. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. A little more space. It says Rwanda walked 1/10 of a mile to Juan's dormitory and then 1/5 of a mile to class. How far did Rwanda walk? Once again, they imply it, but they don't say it. Total. So I'm going to add to get the total. I have 1/10 and 1/5. These are both in miles. Let's go to the larger number. Will 10 work? Yes, because 5 goes into it evenly. So let's use the least common multiple of 10. 10 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 1 is 1. In other words, there was no change. 5 goes into 10 two times, and 2 times 1 is 2. These are tenths. I add 1 and 2 for 3. This is 3/10 of a mile was the total that Rwanda walked. Okay, for some reason, the printing on this one is quite tiny. It says, to cut expenses, a carpenter sometimes glues 2 kinds of plywood together. He glues a 2/5 inch piece of walnut plywood to a 1/10 inch piece of a less expensive plywood. What is the total thickness? Now this time they use the word, and total usually means to add. So I have 2/5 of an inch plus 1/10 of an inch. Now I've already had these denominators before, and I know that 10 will work as a common denominator. 5 goes into 10 two times, and 2 times 2 is 4. No change, so no change in the top. Keep my denominator of 10, add the 4 and 1 for 5. Now I have not had to reduce or simplify lately, but 5/10 can be reduced. I can divide the top by 5 and the bottom by 5, and I will get 1/2. So the total thickness that this carpenter has is 1/2 inch when he glues the 2 pieces together. Okay, we have one more. It says a recipe for muffins calls for 1/2 a quart of buttermilk, 1/3 of a quart of skim milk, and 3/16 of a quart of oil. How many quarts of liquid ingredients does the recipe call for total? So I'm going to add 1/2, 1/3, and 3/16. All right, I think this time I will use my prime factorization to get the common denominator, or the least common multiple. 2 is the smallest prime, and it will go into the first one 1 time. It doesn't go into 3, it goes into 16 8 times. Divide by 2 again. Keep the 1, bring down the 3, it goes into 8 4 times. Divide by 2. The 1, keep the 3, it goes into 4 2 times. Divide by 2 a final time. Keep the 1, keep the 3, 2 goes into 2 1 time. The only other prime I can use is 3. Keep the 1, goes in there once. Bring down that 1. I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. That gives me 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So it's whatever 16 times 3 is, which is 48. My least common multiple, which becomes my common denominator, is 48. Two goes into 48 24 times, and 24 times 1 is 24. 3 goes into 48, and I did it down here so I know 16 times, and 16 times 3 is, oops, well, I keep touching buttons, I'm sorry, is 16. Then finally 16 goes into 48 3 times, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I know that I have some 48s. I have to add the numerators. I have 2 and 6 is 10, plus 9 is 19, carry the 1. 1 and 2 is 3, that makes 4, which is 49. I get 49 over 48. Those don't have a common factor. That's my answer. It is 49 48 quarts of liquid go into this recipe. So in each one of these problems, the concept of total was in them, which meant I needed to add. I found my common denominator a variety of ways, and then I built the new fractions, multiplying by the number 1, and then I was able to add. Take a look at your problem.